Tucker Carlson has gone to war with Media Matters for America, an activist organization that watches Fox News every night to then try and smear them. The Washington Post, it would seem, is hell-bent on running some kind of defense for Media Matters for America. I have to wonder why. Here's the story. Tucker Carlson says he's the victim of a powerful bully. Meet the 24-year-old who found the tapes. First, let's talk about what the Washington Post is doing here. They're trying to imply that when Tucker Carlson points the finger at an organization that has funding, they're trying to imply that it's actually just a 24-year-old who found the tapes, to make it seem like Tucker Carlson is hooting and hollering, and it turns out it was just a 24-year-old. That's absurd. It's an organization. Media Matters for America has money. They're trying to make it seem like, first of all, a 24-year-old is an adult, please. As if Tucker Carlson can't be bullied by an adult. They say Madeline Peltz works the night shift at the liberal media watchdog group Media Matters for America. Given the timing of that particular shift, one of her main responsibilities is watching Tucker Carlson's 8 p.m. show on Fox News. And she's watched a lot of Tucker Carlson. That's kind of weird. I gotta say, that's kind of weird. Carlson has been in the public eye for some 20 years. First as a print journalist, then a television commentator, founder of the conservative site The Daily Caller, and now Fox News host with a primetime slot and a salary in the millions. But people have been confused by Carlson's tone on Fox since he took over for Bill O'Reilly in 2018, noting concern about diversity and demographics in his show. After many Carlson watching hours, the 24-year-old researcher developed a working theory, which she outlined on the nonprofit's website, that Carlson is using his platform on Fox News to introduce white nationalist ideas to the mainstream, making him a uniquely prominent mouthpiece for white supremacy. These people are unwell. And I say this because Tucker Carlson had a debate with Cenk Uygur where they actually agreed on like most things. Tucker Carlson is not the furthest right individual. If you want to accuse him of being a white nationalist, that's sure, I guess. But man, these people have really lost their minds. Now, more importantly, they're evil. Notch, the famed developer of Minecraft, has repeatedly said the left has become evil. I made a video about this and I said, I don't think that's true. You can't call the entirety of the left evil because there are still people like me who politically and to a certain degree culturally align with left-wing policy. But there is an authoritarian bent to the modern version of the left. But more importantly, what I think is a better way to frame it is the left is being taken over by evil. Evil people have realized they can gain power using these ideals, so they do. And what proof do I have? Because Tim Pool doesn't form his opinions based off of nothing. No, I actually hold back quite frequently from making overt declarations such as they're evil. But I have this tweet. I said they really are evil people. These constant attacks are completely disingenuous. They just want power. What heavens could be, what could Tim Pool be talking about? This tweet for here from Stephen Krakauer. The guy leading the Media Matters campaign against Tucker Carlson wrote blog posts describing bags of Jewish gold, calling Japanese people racial slur, which I'm not going to read. He praised the KKK leader Robert Byrd and denigrated trans people all around the time of Tucker's radio comments. You mean to tell me that the guy from Media Matters who is dragging Tucker Carlson over lewd and crude comments he made even worse comments? Wow, it's almost like these people don't actually believe what they're saying, and they are weaponizing the good nature of the left, the willingness to do good, against people they don't like. Wow. Well, what did the Washington Post say? First, the Washington Post tries to make it seem like Tucker Carlson is whining about some little kid, because they actually have in this article like just basic support for all the smears. Let's read a little bit before we get into this the individual who said awful things. It's been a busy week at Media Matters, which tracks conservative media trends and has engaged in a years-long effort to cast light on the ways Fox News and its hosts sidestep traditional journalism guidelines. Kind of like when David Weigel of the Washington Post wrote a completely fabricated story about Kim.com, claiming that Kim.com may have been trying to hack Seth Rich's Gmail account to plant fake archives of emails to prove a conspiracy theory. Right, he made the whole thing up. Washington Post. Or how about when Paul Farhi refused to correct an article where he falsely accused James O'Keefe of omitting information about a CNN producer, and when this was brought up to him, he said, I won't be correcting it. That's my understanding of what happened, at least. Yes, Washington Post, you're a trash outlet, and pot, meet kettle. What's the other saying? Throwing rocks in glass houses. The Washington Post is in no position to be pointing the finger at an opinion show on Fox News. Does Tucker Carlson say offensive things? Of course he does. But then again, everyone's offended by everything. Do I agree with what Tucker Carlson says? I don't. I actually will not defend the things he said in 2006. But I will point out that when Cenk Uygur was dragged, when he was outed by the Justice Democrats for his blog posts back in the early 2000s, I think it was early 2000s, I also defended him too, because one thing is clear. It is insane to dig up 10-year-old posts from people to drag them. But as we often see when it comes to the culture war, what's going on? The right reacts, the left is proactive. Individuals from Media Matters for America who believe in insane conspiracy theories about white ethno-states, and they are fringe conspiracy theories, and I can tell you I have firsthand experience when they try to accuse me of doing interviews of somehow supporting people who don't like me. It's insane. And even when I argue against them, they try and act like I'm arguing for them. They are insane conspiracy theorists. But this man from Media Matters did the same thing. So what do we see? Tucker Carlson highlights these on his show simply because they call him out first and he throws stones back. What else can you do? They're fighting fire with fire, and I think it's a mess. The Justice Democrats are responsible for getting Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez elected. In fact, I believe she's one of their governors. She was, and this led to a big, an ongoing scandal and an FEC complaint, other complaints. Cenk Uygur was outed because people discovered he had blog posts from a while back where he said disparaging things about women and certain minority women. And my point was, they kicked him out. Cenk is not that person anymore. He's clearly not that person anymore. Can we say Tucker Carlson is? I think it would be fair to point out after 10 years, you're an entirely different person. And not only that, I believe every cell in your body has been replaced within 7 years. I could be wrong like that. That might just be like one of those urban legend things. But look, we change. We do. Do I think this Angelo Cursano guy or whatever his name is actually, would put forth those ideas today? Of course not. But you can't drag Tucker, you can't drag Cenk, and you can't drag Media Matters, right? The point, so Tucker's reacting. But what does the Washington Post do? Well, the Washington Post definitely brings up this guy's a defiant response, they say. Let's read through it. Carlson has responded by attacking Media Matters for America along with the Southern Poverty Law Center, whose categorization of hate groups is used widely by media organizations. Southern Poverty Law Center, the organization that used a Holocaust deniers blog archive to claim that I had traveled to Iran for a Holocaust denial conference. They had to apologize for that. So they also had to apologize and retract statements made about Majid Nawaz. They're not the bastion of credibility. He has since been engaged in a long-running feud with CNN. On Tuesday, he called anchor Brian Stelter a eunuch multiple times, name-calling that was omitted from the text of his monologue later posted on the Fox News website, and that was wrong. And Tucker Carlson should be heavily criticized for insulting Brian Stelter in this way, period. Tucker Carlson, you are wrong. You should not be insulting people in this manner. If you want to prove your point, you don't do it by slinging a eunuch at Brian Stelter. You disagree with his stance? You think he's disingenuous? Say that. We shouldn't be engaging this egg throwing. Tucker Carlson doesn't need me to defend him, and his statements shouldn't be defended. But what we can point out is it's absolutely psychotic that we are entering a world where 10-year-old comments now reflect on who you are today, and that's insane. So no, Tucker Carlson, absolutely deserving of criticism, but this is an insane cultural phenomenon. This is what an authoritarian society looks like, Carlson said. It was only a matter of time before they came for Fox News. He also took aim at Media Matters' designation as a tax-exempt nonprofit and urged viewers to call the Internal Revenue Service. In its original tax application to the IRS, Media Matters claimed that the American news media were dominated by pro-Christian bias and that they were needed to balance it, Carlson said. It has been violating the terms of that status ever since. He interviewed Boyden Gray, a former counsel to President George H.W. Bush, who has filed a complaint with the IRS about Media Matters. There is something wrong with the IRS, Gray said. There is nothing more harmful than to keep silent when you shouldn't be defending yourself. Well, let's get to the point. Carlson pointed to here we go. The Daily Caller, which Carlson founded in 2010, also repurposed a story it had written previously about some racist and transphobic slurs that Carlson used on a blog in 2005. Carlson had used slurs about transgender people, Jews, and Japanese people. I'm not going to read what he said because I don't want to get in trouble on YouTube. Carlson pointed to Carlson's comments on his show Wednesday, speaking about the irony of the offense and saying that Media Matters should issue a press release about them. They've done a lot more for a lot less. Carlson, he said, is an enthusiastic bigot. But Carlson also said that he didn't care what Carlson wrote on his dumb blog and that his dumb opinions don't interest me at all. Carlson said the post, which he intended as satire, recirculate every time Media Matters is in the news. And he said that the persona of the blog, which he wrote in college, was designed to parody a right-wing blowhard. It didn't work very well, and I killed it, he said. It's not funny and it's not nice. Apparently, though, he was doing it for years. And I also want to point out, at the same time, Stephen Colbert was pretending to be a conservative, and he did it without using racial transphobic slurs. I do not believe this guy for a moment. This guy at Media Matters, in my opinion, is a grifter. What is he doing? He's rallying a base to make money. He tried doing it, in my opinion, in 2005 by slinging racial slurs. And now that he's trying to do it for the other side and it's working because gullible people don't care, he says, oh, no, I was pretending to be a conservative. What did Cenk Uygur say when he got busted for being an asshole? He said, oh, I was a conservative back then. Oh, please. There are people on the left who are insane. There are people on the right who are insane. They're insane liberals. They're insane conservatives. But the overwhelming majority of people are not insane bigots who sling racial slurs. They exist, but you're nuts. And they're trying to make a caricature of each other. You have this guy on Media Matters trying to claim, oh, I was just pretending to be a conservative. And Cenk did the same thing. And it's like, please, dude. Cenk said he was a conservative. As if the average conservative would go around saying those things. They believe it. They think it's true. It's not. And this is why I find myself often in the middle, because this is what I have to get behind if I want to be on the left. Sorry, I'm not going to do it. You people are nuts. I'm not going to get behind Mike Cernovich dragging James Gunn. And I've criticized Mike Cernovich for that too. Guardians of the Galaxy is awesome. Mike Cernovich was reacting to what the left did. He dug up James Gunn's old jokes, which absolutely were offensive. And now we lose, we lose Guardians of the Galaxy 3. But I recognize what Cernovich was trying to do. And I don't agree with him doing it, and I'll criticize him for it. And Sargon did something similar, trying to throw the language back at the alt-right. I don't agree with the tactic of lobbing rocks when someone lobs rocks. It's a challenge. I understand sometimes you have to defend yourself and fight back, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. What Tucker Carlson is doing now by pointing out Media Matters, I think, is fair game. Pointing out this guy is a disingenuous liar who did the same thing he's criticizing Carlson for around basically the same time. It's a bit different from digging up old, trying to, well, I'll say this too. Cernovich didn't intend to get Guardians of the Galaxy canceled or delayed or whatever happened. So that's fair. But the point is, an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. I don't know what the solution is, but this is insane. It's absolutely insane. And the only thing I can really say is that, yes, Carlson should be criticized. Of course he should. No one is free from criticism. Carlson called Brian Stelter a eunuch, and I absolutely detest that he did that, and that is wrong. Period. But to think Tucker Carlson should lose sponsors or get canceled because of something he said 13 years ago is mind-boggling. Let's get all the sponsors from Media Matters. Is that what we're going to do? Are we going to go to all of the funders of Media Matters and say you're supporting a bigot in his campaign to take out people he doesn't like? Or you know what? I'm going to end there. I got another video coming up at 4 p.m. on my main channel at youtube.com/Timcast. It's different from this channel. YouTube just named him that way. Don't ask me why, but I will see you then.